गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन यशोदानंदन भज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन भज जन रंजन जमुना तीरा वनचारी जमुना तीरा जमुना तीरा वनचारी जमुना जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंद। Hare Krishna. On behalf of ISKCON Manchester, I welcome all the devotees to our Friday class. We are beginning a series of 3 classes on the glories of Sri Madhavendra Puri, which we will be reciting from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So I'm very grateful and very thankful to all the devotees who have taken their time out today to relish these wonderful pastimes. So let's begin our recitation by beginning our Mangalacharan, and then we can recite it together. Hare Krishna. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Om Agyantimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, I'm very happy to be with all of you today to this very auspicious day of Ekadashi, and we have chosen a very beautiful topic of glorifying Sri Madhavendra Puri. Now, Madhavendra Puri, he is the Param Guru of Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than Radha and Krishna together, but even the Lord, when he comes, he accepts a spiritual master. So his spiritual master is Ishvara Puri, and Ishvara Puri's spiritual master is Madhavendra Puri. And Madhavendra Puri, his life is completely dependent and surrendered life to Krishna and Krishna's service. His life, what we're going to look just deep into this vast ocean of the glories of Madhavendra Puri. We're going to deep very not very deep, but just on a shallow level, and we'll see how vast and how beautiful and nectarian his life is. A life full of surrender, full of service, uh, where he is completely, sold out on how to give pleasure to Krishna. Uh, Everything for the pleasure of Krishna and none for himself. And he is such a wonderful, a very exalted devotee that Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he appeared in his disciplic succession. So we are called Brahma Madhava Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. Our Sampradaya comes from Sri Brahmaji. Brahmaji instructed to Narada Muni. Narada Muni instructed to Vyas Dev. Then Sri, the disciplic line. Then it came to Madhvacharya. Then his disciplic line. And one of the line is Madhavendra Puri. And from Madhavendra Puri is Ishvara Puri. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then the six Goswamis. And this is how the lineage comes. So we come into that very glorious lineage of Sri Madhavendra Puri. So Srila Madhavendra Puri's pastimes, they are very elaborately described in two books, Chaitanya Bhagavat and Chaitanya Charitamrita. But we are going to speak from the fourth chapter of the Madhya Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita. This whole chapter is dedicated on glorification of Sri Madhavendra Puri. In fact, this chapter is titled the Sri Madhavendra Puri's Devotional Service. So, and we have been, we'll be doing this glorification of Madhavendra Puri for next 3 weeks. So this week, today, we'll go to the first part of his lifetimes, wonderful service, how he served Sri Gopal deity in Vrindavan, how that Gopal deity appeared to him, and how Madhavendra Puri served him. So, just to make sure we make the optimum use of our time, we will read the whole section where Madhavendra Puri discovers the deity of Sri Gopal and how he is serving, how he arranged the service for Sri Gopal. So that will start from the 34th shloka of fourth chapter of Madhya Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita. But before we reach there, we'll just understand how exactly this story is compiled in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is written or compiled by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, He is narrating the pastimes where Lord Chaitanya, he has taken the sannyas, and by the trick of Shri Nityanand Prabhu, uh, he brought Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Navadvip, Shantipur, in Bengal, rather than to Vrindavan. Lord Chaitanya wanted to go Vrindavan, but Nityanand Prabhu, he tricked him to come to Shantipur, which is in Bengal, at Sri Advaitacharya's house. And then, on the request of Sachi Devi, Lord Chaitanya's mother, Lord Chaitanya agreed to stay in Jagannath Puri, so she will get his news very frequently. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu agreed to her request, and now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is traveling to Jagannath Puri from Bengal. And along with him, he has four devotees. One of them is Nityanand Prabhu, and they're traveling to Sri Jagannath Puri. And in that journey, they come to a place called Remuna. And in this Remuna city or the town, there is a beautiful temple of Sri Gopal. Uh, so, no, Gopinath. It's a beautiful temple of Gopinath. Now, this temple is a very ancient temple. The deity is very old deity. It is described that once, when Lord Ramachandra, we celebrated Ramanavami just last month. So Ram's pastimes are still fresh in our head. So Sri Ramchandra, along with Mother Sita, when they were going through their 14 years of exile, they came to this place called Remuna. And Mother Sita, she wondered, that my Lord, in next incarnation, what will be your next incarnation? So then, Lord Sri Ramchandra, he meditated, on this his next incarnation. And he said, I'll be coming as Gopinath. And he carved a deity of Gopinath through his arrow. Uh, and then Mother Sita, she worshipped the deity of Gopinath. Hmm. So this deity is from even before Krishna appeared in this world, from Treta Yuga. And this deity was still worshipped at a place called Remuna. So Lord Chaitanya was so happy to take darshan of Sri Gopinath at Remuna, but particularly he remembered Madhavendra Puri, his Param Guru. So his Param Guru, Madhavendra Puri, he came to this city, and we're going to discuss this whole pastime in a bit elaborately. But Mahaprabhu remembered that Gopinath, he stole the kheer of for Madhavendra Puri, and since that day, that Gopinath is known as Kheer Chor Gopinath. Huh? The Gopinath who stole kheer for his devotee Madhavendra Puri. And Mahaprabhu was just, he went to his ecstasy and just remembering that pastime of how Gopinath is so merciful to his devotees. Uh, so then Mahaprabhu is narrating the whole story or lifetime, of Madhavendra Puri's story. So Mahaprabhu, he starts describing that once Madhavendra Puri, he was a sannyasi, and he was traveling all over the world, and he came to Vrindavan. And in Vrindavan, he when he came to Vrindavan, he was in complete ecstasy. Mm. And he was doing his Govardhan Parikrama. And the story starts from there. So what we are going to do now, that we will read this particular narrations from Chaitanya Charitamrita. We all can take turns. I request all the devotees who would like to read from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. You can be ready. If you want to, you can put a raise hand on your Zoom, so we know which devotees like to read from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Then probably Govinderjee Temple can manage. He can ask the devotees to read one after the other. So Govinderjee Temple, if you can just let me have the permission to share the screen, and I will share the chapter, and we can take turn by turn.
Yes, Prabhu, done.
Okay, just a second. So we have to go here. So it'll be very long reading today because we didn't want it to miss any nectar from this story. Okay, 34. Okay, so sorry, we can start with Shloka 21. So we'll do 10 shlokas each. So we can all start reading one after the other. So Gurudas, we can manage the reading rota for everyone.
Sure. Gauraharati Mataji, would you like to begin?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Once Sri Madhavendra Puri traveled to Vrindavan, where he came upon the hill known as Govardhan. Madhavendra Puri was almost mad in his ecstasy of love of Godhead, and he did not know whether it was day or night. Sometimes he stood up, and sometimes he fell to the ground. He could not discriminate whether he was in a proper place or not. After circumambulating the hill, Sri Madhavendra Puri went to Govinda Kund and took his bath. He then sat beneath a tree to take his evening rest. While he was sitting beneath a tree, an unknown cowherd boy came with a pot of milk, placed it before Madhavendra Puri, and smiling, addressed him as follows. "O Madhavendra Puri, please drink the milk I have brought. Why don't you beg some food to eat? What kind of meditation are you undergoing?" When he saw the beauty of that boy, Madhavendra Puri became very satisfied. Hearing his sweet words, he forgot all hunger and thirst. Madhavendra Puri said, "Who are you? Where do you reside? And how did you know that I was fasting?" The boy replied, "Sir, I am a cowherd boy and I reside in this village. In my village, no one fasts. In this village, a person can beg food from others and thus eat. Some people drink only milk. But if a person does not ask anyone for food, I supply him all his eatables." Should I continue?
Yes, Mataji, go till about shloka till 40, Mataji.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. "The women who've come here to take water saw you, and they supplied me with this milk and sent me to you." The boy continued, "I must go very soon to milk the cows, but I shall return and take back this milk pot from you." Saying this, the boy left the place. Indeed, he suddenly could be seen no more, and Madhavendra Puri's heart was filled with wonder. After drinking the milk, Sri Madhavendra Puri washed the pot and put it aside. He looked toward the path, but the boy never returned. Madhavendra Puri could not sleep. He sat and chanted the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and at the end of the night, he dozed a little, and his external activities stopped. In a dream, Madhavendra Puri saw the very same boy. The boy came before him and, holding his hand, took him to a bush in the jungle. The boy showed Madhavendra Puri the bush and said, "I reside in this bush, and because of this, I suffer very much from severe cold, rain showers, winds, and scorching heat. Please bring the people of the village and get them to take me out of this bush. Then have them situate me nicely on top of the hill. Please construct a temple on top of that hill." The boy continued, "and install me in that temple. After this, wash me with large quantities of cold water so that my body may be cleansed. For many days I have been observing you, and I have been wondering, when will Madhavendra Puri come here to serve me? Should I continue?
Mother, just the 40th, Mother. Just complete the 40th.
I have accepted your service due to your ecstatic love for me. Thus, I shall appear, and by my audience, all fallen souls will be delivered.
Thank you, Mataji. So
Thank
maybe
you
next
so
devotee can do the next 20 shlokas, 41 to 60.
Rajkumar Govinda Prabhu, would you like to, are you able to read?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Then I can do that after you, or I can ask other devotees as well. Other devotees, please be ready. After Rajkumar Prabhu, someone else can do it. Please be ready.
Okay. Text 41. My name is Gopal. I'm the lifter of Golden Hill. I was installed by Raj, and here I'm the authority. When the Muslim attacked, the priest who was serving me hid me in the bush or in the jungle. Then he ran away out of fear of the attack. Since the priest went away, I have been staying in this bush. It's very good that you have come here. Now just remove me with care. After saying this, the boy disappeared. Then Madhavendra Puri woke up and began to consider his dream. Madhavendra Puri began to lament. I saw Lord Krishna directly, but I could not recognize him. Thus he fell down on the ground in ecstatic love. Madhavendra Puri cried for some time, but then he fixed his mind on executing the order of Gopal. Then he became tranquil. After taking his morning bath, Madhavendra Puri entered the village and assembled all the people. Then he spoke as follows. The proprietor of this village, Govardhan Dari, is lying in the bushes. Let's go there and rescue him from that place. The bushes are very dense and we will not be able to enter the jungle. Therefore, take choppers and spades to clear the way. After hearing this, all the people accompanied Madhavendra Puri with great pleasure. According to his direction, they cut down bushes, cleared the path, and entered the jungle. Till 50 or how many?
Till 60, Prabhuji.
Oh, 60. When they saw the deity covered with dirt and grass, they were all struck with wonder and pleasure. After they had cleansed the body of the deity, some of them said, the deity is very heavy. No single person can move him. Since the deity was very heavy, some of the stronger men assembled to carry him to the top of the hill. Madhavendra Puri also went there. A big stone was made into a throne, and the deity was installed upon it. Another big stone was placed behind the deity for support. All the brahmanas, priests of the village gathered together with 9 water pots, and water from Govinda Kund Lake was brought there and filtered. When the deity was being installed, 900 pots of water were brought from Govinda Kund. There were musical sounds of bugles and drums and singing of women. During the festival and the installation ceremony, some people sang and some danced. All the milk, yogurt, and clarified butter in the village were brought to the festival. Various foods and sweet meats, as well as other kinds of presentation, were brought there. I am unable to describe them all. The villagers brought a large quantity of tulsi leaves, flowers, and various kinds of garments. Then Sri Madhavendra Puri personally began to Abhishek bathing ceremony. After all, inauspicious things were driven away by the chanting of the mantra. The deity bathing ceremony started. First, the deity was massaged with a large quantity of oil so that his body became very glossy.
Thank you, Rajkumar Govinda Prabhu. The next devotee can start from 61 till 80.
Who has, okay, nobody is there. Let me do it. Somebody in the meantime, you can get ready. I'm giving a little more time. From 61. Okay. After the first bathing, further bathings were conducted with Panchagavya and then with Panchamrita. Then the Mahasnana was performed with ghee and water, which had been brought in 100 pots. After the Mahasnana was finished, deity was again massaged with scented oils and his body made glossy. Then the last bathing ceremony was performed with scented water kept within a conch shell. After the body of deity was cleansed, he was dressed very nicely with new garments. Then sandalwood pulp, tulsi garlands, and other fragrant flower garlands were placed upon the body of deity. After bathing ceremony was finished, incense and lamps were burned and all kinds of food offered before the deity. These foods, including yogurt, milk, and as many sweetmeats as were received. The deity was first offered many varieties of food, then scented drinking water in new pots, and then water for washing the mouth. Finally, corn mixed with variety of spices was offered. After the last offering of tambula and pan, Boga Aratika was performed. Finally, everyone offered various prayers and then obeisances, falling flat before the deity in full surrender. As soon as the people of the village had understood that the deity was going to be installed, they had brought their entire stock of rice, dal, and wheat flour. They brought such large quantities that the entire surface of the top of the hill was filled. When the villagers brought their stock of rice, dal, and flour, the potters of the village brought all kinds of cooking pots, and in the morning, the cooking began. 10 brahmanas cooked the food grains, and 5 brahmanas cooked both dry and liquid vegetables. 70. Yeah. The vegetable preparations were made from various kinds of spinach, roots, and fruits collected from the forest. And someone made bhada and bhadi by mashing dal. In this way, the brahmanas prepared all kinds of food. 5 to 7 men prepared a huge quantity of chapatis, which were completely covered with ghee, clarified butter, as were all the vegetables, rice, and dal. All the cooked rice was stacked in a palasha leaves, which were on new cloths spread over the ground. Around the stack of cooked rice were stacks of chapatis, and all the vegetables and liquid vegetable preparations were placed in different pots and put around them. Pots of yogurt, milk, buttermilk, and shikarni, sweet rice, cream, and solid cream were placed alongside the vegetables. In this way, the Anakuta ceremony was performed, and Madhavendra Puri Goswami personally offered everything to Gopal. Shall I continue?
Till 80, Prabhuji, yes.
Yeah, okay. Many water pots were filled with scented water for drinking. And Lord Sri Gopala, who had been hungry for many days, ate everything offered to him. Although Sri Gopala ate everything offered, still by the touch of his transcendental hand, everything remained as before. How Gopala ate everything while the food remained the same was transcendentally perceived by Madhavendra Puri Goswami. Nothing remains a secret to the devotees of the Lord. The wonderful festival and installation of Sri Gopalji was arranged in one day. Suddenly, all this was accomplished by the potency of Gopala. No one but a devotee can understand this. Madhavendra Puri offered water to Gopala for washing his mouth and gave him betel nuts to chew. Then, while Aarti was performed, all the people chanted Jaya Jaya, all glories to Gopal.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. I think Ian Prabhu raised his hand, or anybody else?
Ian Prabhu.
Prabhuji, do the 20 shlokas, 81 till 100, if you can do that, please.
Hare Krishna. Arranging for the Lord's rest, Sri Madhavendra Puri brought a new cot, and over this he spread a new bedspread, and thus made the bed ready. A temporary temple was constructed by covering the bed all around with a straw mattress. Thus there was a bed and a straw mattress to cover it. After the Lord was laid down to rest on the bed, Madhavendra Puri gathered all the brahmanas who had prepared the prasadam and said to them, "Now feed everyone sumptuously, from the children on up to the aged." All the people gathered there sat down to honor prasad, and by they took food. All the brahmanas and their wives were fed first. Can you scroll down, please, Prabhu?
Yeah. 85. Let's start with 85.
Those who took prasad included not only the people of Govardhan village, but also those who came from other villages. They also saw the deity of Gopal and were offered prasadam to eat. Seeing the influence of Madhavendra Puri, all the people gathered there were struck with wonder. They saw that the Anakuta ceremony, which had been performed before during the time of Krishna, was now taking place again by the mercy of Sri Madhavendra Puri. All the brahmanas present on that occasion were initiated by Madhavendra Puri into the Vaishnava cult, and Madhavendra Puri engaged them in different types of service. After taking rest, the deity must be awakened at the end of the day, and immediately some food and some water must be offered to him. Can you scroll, please, Prabhu?
Sure, Prabhuji. 89. Yeah.
When it was advertised throughout the day that Lord Gopal had appeared atop Govardhan Hill, all the people from neighbouring villages came to see the deity. One village after another was pleased to beg Madhavendra Puris to allot them one day to perform the Anakuta ceremony. Thus, day after day, the Anakuta ceremony was performed for some time. Sri Madhavendra Puri did not eat anything throughout the day, but at night, after laying the deity down to rest, he took a milk preparation. The next morning, the rendering of service to the deity began again, and people from one village arrived with all kinds of food grains. Can you scroll, Prabhu? The inhabitants of the village brought to the deity of Gopal as much food grains, ghee, yogurt, and milk as they had in their village. The next day, almost as before, there was an Anakuta ceremony. All the brahmanas prepared foods, and Gopal accepted them. The ideal place to execute Krishna consciousness is Rajabhumi or Vrindavan, where the people are naturally inclined to love Krishna, and Krishna is naturally inclined to love them. Throngs of people came from different villages to see the deity of Gopal, and they took Mahaprasad sumptuously. When they saw the super excellent form of Lord Gopal, all their lamentation and unhappiness disappeared. Could you please scroll, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. All the villages in the neighboring Rajabhumi, Vrindavan, became aware of the appearance of Gopal, and all the people from these villages came to see him. Day after day, they all performed the Annakuta ceremony. In this way, not only the neighboring villages, but all the other provinces came to know of Gopal's appearance. Thus people came from all over, bringing a variety of presentations. The people of Mathura, who are very big capitalists, also brought various presentations and offered them up before the deity in devotional service. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. So now next from 100 till 107, I'll ask Priyarani to read those just 8 slokas.
Thus countless presentations of gold, silver, garments, scented articles, and eatables arrived. The store of Gopal increased daily. One very rich Kshatriya of the royal order constructed a temple, someone made cooking utensils, and someone constructed boundary walls. Each and every family residing in the land of Rajbhumi contributed one cow. In this way, thousands of cows became the property of Gopal. Eventually, 2 Brahmanas in the renounced order arrived from Bengal, and Madhavendra Puri, who liked them very much, kept them in Vrindavan and gave them all kinds of comforts. These 2 were then initiated by Madhavendra Puri, and he entrusted them with the daily service of the Lord. This service was performed continuously, and the worship of the deity became very gorgeous. Thus Madhavendra Puri was very pleased. In this way, the deity worship in the temple was very gorgeously performed for 2 years. Then one day, Madhavendra Puri had a dream.
Okay, so we stop here. So we started from 21st sloka till 105, and we in this shloka from Chaitanya Charitamrita, we practically went through the whole story, and now we'll go with the with intention to learn from this story. So we'll go point by point and see what we can learn from this wonderful story. So we started the narration where Madhavendra Puri is going to the Vrindavan and is doing the Govardhan Parikrama. And there is a shloka that he was in so much in ecstasy that he didn't know where he was, what he was doing. He was completely in ecstasy. And there is the, really the effect of doing a Govardhan Parikrama. I'm sure many of us, in this gathering today must have gone to Govardhan and did the Parikrama there. Govardhan Parikrama is such a thing where no matter who you are, that potency of Govardhan is so intense. It will penetrate your heart and it will install the devotion in your heart without even you knowing it. This is because Govardhan is none other than Krishna himself. And from the time of immemorial, since Govardhan appeared in this world, and especially after Krishna lifted Govardhan hill, the countless peoples from all these thousands of years, they've been doing Govardhan Parikrama, every single day. If you go to Vrindavan now, no matter which part of the day you go, either early morning or in the middle of a night or in the afternoon, whatever time you go, there are hundreds of people. They are doing parikrama, and this parikrama is called, we call it in English circumambulation. And that parikrama is not a small parikrama. It's a 23-kilometer long parikrama. For an average person to do this parikrama, it takes about 6 to 7 hours to do this parikrama. So Madhavendra Puri, while he was doing his parikrama, he was completely in ecstasy. And then it is mentioned that he took a rest near the Govinda Kund. This Govinda Kunda, again one part of the Govardhan Parikrama is that Govardhan Parikrama every few meters there is a pastime of Krishna happened there. So if you walk few meters, there's a place comes, and so Krishna did this here. You walk few meters again, oh Krishna did this here. So if you put some estimation, if you do katha of what Krishna's pastime at that particular place, if you do the parikrama that way, I think your whole lifetime will be just passed in just one parikrama of Govardhan Hill. There is so many pastimes are there. So Madhavendra Puri, he took a rest at Govindakund. Now Govindakund is the place when Krishna, after when he lifted Govardhan Hill, then the Indra was so much feeling guilty that he upset Krishna. So he wanted to come and ask forgiveness to Krishna. So he asked the Surbhi cow, to petition on behalf of him. And then Indra and Lord Brahma and all the various demigods, they all came together and they performed a wonderful Abhishek of Krishna. And that Abhishek water was collected at one place, and that water, that particular place became Govindakund. So Govindakund is still there. When we go there, we can take a darshan of Govindakund, and we can, if you have a time, we can take a bath there. You can even sprinkle the water on your head. So the water of the Govindakund is none other than the water that has done the Abhishek of Sri Krishna. And then it is mentioned in this Chaitanya Charitamrita that Madhavendra Puri, he sat down there, and he started chanting Hare Krishna. And he was fasting. Now Madhavendra Puri, he has done a Ajachaka Vrat, Ayachaka or Ajachaka Vrat, that he will not beg to anyone for his own sense gratification. For his own, he just, whatever is supplied by Krishna, he will just accept that. If nothing comes to him, he doesn't care. He will just chant Hare Krishna, and leave it to Krishna to look after him. So he sat down there. He started chanting Hare Krishna, and suddenly this one boy comes. Krishna himself, he comes, and he says, "Oh Baba, who are you? And what are you doing here?" And then, the Krishna, he comes there, and he brought this milk pot to him, says, Baba, he said, in my village, no one goes fasting. So Madhavendra Puri was surprised. How come he knows that I am fasting? So he asked the questions to Madhavendra Puri. So Krishna says, all these village girls, they are, taking their water from Govindakund. And they saw you that you are sitting here for a long time and you are not eating anything. And in my village, no one goes fasting. Either they beg, from the village, and that's how they, they eat, or if no, or somebody can just drink the milk of the cow, or else I will provide them personally what their needs are. But no one goes fasting in my town or in my village. It is still happening, even till today in Vrindavan. Nobody goes hungry. All the sadhus, they many of this, they are completely renounced. And if they have anything, if they're hungry, they just go to any villager's house in Vrindavan, and they'll ask for the bhiksha. And no matter however poor the householder is, he will at least make a nice roti, and put some butter in it, and he'll give it to that sadhu. And in fact, some years back, one very wonderful devotee of Vrindavan came to Manchester, and he was saying that actually the Brajbasis are very rich people. They feed their whole family, and at least every day they feed 5 sadhus every day. How many sadhus we are feeding every day in our house? We're just happy feeding our own family. But in Brajbasi, in Braj, however poor materially these families are, they'll feed at least 5 sadhus with their, whatever their possessions they have. So actually the Brajbasis, they are very rich people. And of course they are rich people. They are rich, because, they have taken the birth in Braj, and then Krishna says personally, given the residence in Vrindavan. So, then Krishna, he gave this milk to Madhavendra Puri. He said, "You please drink, and I'll come back, and I'll take this pot back." Now, one lesson that we can learn here is that Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, "Ye tamam prabatyate tam sthiteva bhajamyaham." Madhavendra Puri, he is completely dependent on Krishna. He says, "Krishna, do whatever you want to do with me. I'm sitting here, and if it is your desire to that I should eat, if it comes, I'll eat it. Otherwise, I will not eat it." So he is completely depending on Krishna, and see how Krishna is reciprocating to him. Now Krishna is also completely dependent on him. So Krishna comes in his dream in the night, and he says, that the same boy who gave him the milk, he said, that my deity form is in this forest, and sometimes back, because of the Muslim king's attack, the pujari hid me here. Then he ran away out of fear. So I'm been waiting for you. If you look at the shloka, the Krishna says, "I've been waiting for you to rescue me." Now you see the reciprocation here. Madhavendra Puri is completely dependent on Krishna, and here Krishna says, "I've been waiting for you. And if you can come and rescue me." So Krishna is completely depending on his devotees. Such a wonderful reciprocation. That Lord is completely showing the right example of yetamam prapadyante. And then there is one shloka where Krishna says, "I am the Govardhan Dhari, I am the lifter of the Govardhan hill. Now come and rescue me." Now it is a very paradoxical shloka. At one line he is saying that I am the Govardhan Dhari, I am lifting the Govardhan hill. He is lifting the whole Govardhan hill. So he is very super powerful, But his one little finger of his left hand is lifting the whole Govardhan hill. And now he's telling his devotee, "Please come and rescue me." What kind of God is this? But here, we see this Krishna's, immense mercy on his devotee. Krishna always wants to glorify his own devotee. He says, "I've been waiting for you. You please come and rescue me." So Krishna always, he wants to, engage his devotee in his service and give pleasure to his devotees. So then Madhavendra Puri, he wakes up, and and then it is mentioned, he first starts lamenting. But actually Krishna gave darshan to me, but I did not recognize. And now, then he says, it is said in next shloka that he immediately focused on his service. He's not just broken hearted and said, "Why did not I, take proper shelter of Krishna?" He says, "Okay, now Krishna asked me to do this service to rescue him from this forest. So I must focus on my service." So here, again, a great lesson that we can learn. A devotee is always focused on his service. For him, nothing is important to him. His own, bodily needs or own maintenance. Of course, it is said devotee should look after their body, and their, and their material welfare, so that he can serve Krishna very nicely. But as soon as he has a service, he is completely focused on his service. So then, Madhavendra Puri, next morning, he gathers all the villagers, and he says, "Yes, the Krishna, his deity form is here, and we have to come and rescue him." And Krishna told him in the dream that you rescue me, and you install me on the top of this hill. So then, Madhavendra Puri, goes to the jungle. He goes to the exact place, where Krishna and directed him, and lo and behold, they find this beautiful, beautiful deity of Sri Gopal. So Krishna told him in the dream that this is the deity which was installed by Vajranab. It says Vajra. Vajra was the great grandson of Krishna. He installed many deities in Vrindavan, and this was one of it. So this deity is a beautiful deity. And now this deity is still existing. Now it is being worshipped at a place called Nathdwara in Rajasthan, and it is known as Srinathji. And devotees from all over the world. I don't know how many of you have taken the darshan of this deity in Nathdwara. It was there in the Golden Hill, but again, Lord's pastimes, again some second attack came, and the devotee took this deity and took him to Rajasthan in Nathdwara. So many of our Vaishnav deities, the deities from Vrindavan, because of the threat from the kings, they were moved to Rajasthan. So Srinathji or Gopalji is in Nathdwara, Govindji is in Jaipur, Madan Mohanji is in Karoli, then there are Radha Vinod, then Radha Gopinath. These are all deities in Rajasthan. In Jaipur, there are so many. Apart from Govindji, there are few other deities also there, and they are all in the wonderful care of the devotees in Rajasthan. So here I will just maybe I'm just digressing from the story, but this is what I heard from Srila Indradyumna Swami Maharaj, that the Lord, he does wonderful pastimes. He's been worshipped in Vrindavan, then he gets moved to Rajasthan or in various cities. Now everything is fine. Now this devotee should come back, to Vrindavan. But Maharaj was saying that Krishna is finding it very difficult to leave these places, because the local devotees, they are so attached to them, that they are so much loving to Krishna, that Krishna, they are so much attached to the Krishna, that Maharaj said that Krishna is finding it very difficult, in fact unable to break their heart and go back to Vrindavan. So, and it was my great fortune, some years back we went to Jaipur, to take darshan of Radha Govindji. I had heard so much about Radha Govindji, that the devotees love them so much. And I've seen, practically when I went there, they are so much attached to Govindji. Early morning there is a 4:30, there's Aarti is there, suddenly thousands of people just come from nowhere. And then they sing wonderful Aarti. Then again, in the evening, they all come together and offer the Aarti, and throughout the day also various Aartis and various offering goes on. And in the Madan Mohanji in Karoli, and then Srinathji in Nathdwara. Nathdwara right now, Srinathji or Gopalji is being worshipped by the descendants or the disciples of Sri Vallabhacharya. Today is the Vallabhacharya's appearance day, so we can remember him as well. So his descendants or disciples are worshipping Srinathji in Nathdwara, and especially Gujaratis. I come from Gujarati community. They are so much attached to Srinathji. Srinathji, with your permission, I will just share some of the pictures of Srinathji, that we have. This is this beautiful deity of Sri Gopal, and this we call it Srinathji. The way they decorate Srinathji and the way they worship Srinathji is amazing. This is my heart's desire. Someday we should all come together and go to Nathdwara to take the darshan of Gopal. It will be wonderful to have a wonderful yatra to Srinathji. And then this is another picture of Srinathji it is not the deity, but it is a painting of the deity. But this is how his decoration is done in the temple. And there's another little decoration of Srinathji. There are 8 different darshans are given throughout the day, and each darshan has got different. In the Mangalarti is different dressing. In the afternoon is different dressing. In the evening is a different dressing. It's just a feast for the eyes, to take the different darshans of Srinathji. And this is the little picture of Gopal coming to Madhavendra Puri to offer him a milk. Anyway, I think I had a little digress from the story. Where were we? He Madhavendra Puri, he discovered the deity of Gopal, and then Gopal, was installed at the at the top of the hill, and and then all the Brajabasis, they all came together, and there is an elaborate description in Chaitanya Charitamrita that we just gone through. That the first they cleaned the deity of Gopal. Now first they made a big simhasan of one rock. And I put the big rock behind him, and then Gopal deity was placed there. In fact, I have a picture. Let me see if I have a picture. I think so. Yeah, this is the picture. I'm not sharing, no. So you see in this picture, it's a very simple installation ceremony of Gopal. There's a big rock at the bottom, and there's a big rock behind just to support him. And then all the Brajbasis, they were so happy that Gopal has appeared to give them darshan. So they brought, before they did a big Maha Abhishek first of all. And there it is said, first they, clean all the impurities with the mantras and then remove all the dirt and then they massage the deity of the Lord with various scented oils. Again, I'm sure, those devotees, who have deities in the house, massaging the deity with the oil, it is one of the most sweet thing you can do. When you massage the deity with the scented oil, oh my God, it is so nice. So first they massage the Lord with the scented oil, and then they brought all the waters from Govinda Kund and they did the Abhishek of the Gopal. And then they again massaged the deities with another scented oil. And then, again they put in all the Panchagavyas and Panchamrut, and all these wonderful articles of the Abhishek. They bathed the deities with this Abhishek. And then, Lord was offered, the sumptuous feast. It is mentioned, the dals and badas and buddies, and then all the villagers came together, and then they offered a huge feast to Sri Gopal. And then the Vrajbasis, they are remembering that, when earlier when Krishna lifted Govardhan hill, before that they did a Govardhan Puja, and that time the Anukut was done. He says that Anukut and this Anukut is identical. They had never seen, there's so much offering of Bhoga offering to Sri Girira, to Sri Gopal. And then, it is mentioned then the Gopal was, again, it's just such a sweet pastime, The Lord sleeps in the afternoon. Bhagwan, he eat very nicely. Then Madhavendra Puri made a nice coat for him and he slept. And then again he woke up in the afternoon. Again, some more offering was done. Then he was offered some betel nut leaves. I think it was offered before. But now his services started. And Madhavendra Puri, is making all the arrangements, of Gopal's, looking after. And that's why, the whole day, the whole festival was done very nicely. And then the news spread all over the country, all the villages, that Gopal has appeared in Vrindavan, Gopal has appeared in Vrindavan. Now, all the different other villages came. He says, today, Govardhan, because there is a village called Govardhan, they did the service for Gopal. Now you please allocate, service to our village so we can also serve Gopal. So that day there's a big queue, every day, one particular village will come and they serve Gopal, and then it is said for months and years, this Anukut ceremony was happening. They're coming from so many places. They're coming from the nearby villages. They're coming from the different provinces. Then they're coming from far far places. And so what? For one purpose, just to come and serve Gopal. And then at the end, it is mentioned that the Mathura, the capitalist people from Mathura, the rich people from Mathura, they also came. So they also wanted to serve Gopal. So they brought various pots and utensils. Somebody built a nice, gorgeous temple for Gopal. Somebody built a fence, and in this way, the Gopal's service started. And then it is mentioned that his stock was increasing. All these utensils and all penny was coming through. And then it is said every villagers, every family, they have donated one cow to Gopal. And then Gopal had a big goshala. Because from the cow they can offer milk, and so forth and so on. And this how the whole service started. And then we stopped, at the 105th shloka, that one day Gopal again appeared in the dream of Sri Madhavendra Puri. So what was that dream and how Gopal, what kind of service Gopal again gives to Madhavendra Puri, that will cover in the next week. But here I will just like to very humbly kind of take your permission to remember His Grace Pankajangri Prabhu, who left us, on 4th of May. So I will just read one shloka from our Chaitanya Charitam that we just read. Okay, so this particular shloka, it is said, the wonderful festival and installation of Sri Gopalji was arranged in one day. Certainly, all this was accomplished by the potency of Gopal. No one but a devotee can understand this. Madhendra Puri. Okay, so in this shloka, we understand that the whole festival was arranged by Madhendra Puri within one day. And all this elaborate arrangement was organized by Madhavendra Puri. How is this happening? Because as we just discussed, that the law, when we depend on the Lord depends on us. And whenever the Lord appears, in His deity form, He asks for us to do some seva. He brings all His opulence along with Him. And here we can make a little parallels with His Grace Pankajangri Prabhu. Pankajangri Prabhu, along with his brother, His Grace Jananivas Prabhu, these very illustrious two brothers, they have been serving the deities at Mayapur from last 5 decades, 50 years. And they have been serving, the Radha Madhav and Ashtasakis, Panchatattva, and Narsinghadev. And now they also worshipping Sri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra in Rajapur. And if we go to Mayapur, the Mayapur's opulence, no matter how hearted a person is, if he goes and takes a darshan of these deities, the people start crying. When they look at their gorgeous darshan, they start crying. And how are these deities revealed to all the devotees? Because of this, loving service offered by Pankajangri Prabhu and Jananivas Prabhu. So Pankajangri Prabhu, by the Lord's divine sweet will, he decided to take Pankajangri Prabhu away from the vision of from this world. But this time, we can just remember, what services is brought, what services is offered for the benefit of all the living entities in this world. Uh, Pankajangri Prabhu, he was his, he had thousands of service, but one of the service was to, and a very, very prominent service was to look after and worship Sri Narsinghadev. And Narsinghadev, I've been just hearing classes from last 2 days uh, about how Narsinghadev appeared in Mayapur, and the Narsinghadev that the devotees in Mayapur they are worshipping. In fact, we all are worshipping. Is this Sthanu Narsingha, Sthanu Ugra Narsinghadev. This Narsinghadev is he cannot be worshipped by the ordinary person. Uh, there are the sthapatis, those who carve the devotees, they refuse to carve these deities because says Narsinghadev. Of course, Narsinghadev himself is a very ferocious incarnation of the Lord. But of all the incarnations of the Lord of Narsinghadev, the Sthanu Narsingha is the most ferocious, the most fearful, most ugra. And Bhagnajangri Prabhu was looking after Narsinghadev. And because of his, sweet, mood and his love for Narsinghadev. Now Narsinghadev, practically everybody in our movement is in love with Narsinghadev. Everybody, they feel so much protected by Narsinghadev. And this is all possible because His Grace Pankajangri Prabhu, he brought his darshan into our vision. There are wonderful stories about Narsinghadev that you have heard, we've been hearing all these years. But today is the time where we remember Pankajangri Prabhu. On Sunday, we are dedicating our full Sunday program in remembering the life of Sri Pankajangri Prabhu. But today, just before we conclude our today's class, we should, pray to Madhavendra Puri, and pray to Gopalji, and pray to Narsinghadev that may we become as dedicated and the same path as that Pankajangri Prabhu followed in serving Srila Prabhupada. We should be as dedicated as him. We should be emulating his life. And if you can just get even a little fraction of the dedication that Pankajangri Prabhu had to Prabhupada and all the devotees, our life will be complete success. Pankajangri Prabhu's life is an example of how one can have a successful life as a devotee without any trace of fault. Complete surrender to Prabhupada. As Madhavendra Puri was completely surrendered to the service of the Lord, Pankajangri Prabhu was completely surrendered to the wish of Prabhupada. And his service was to look after the deities in Mayapur. He did it till the last breath of his life. It is a great loss to our movement that he is, we won't be able to see him in this lifetime again. But we can personally, this is again, my personal desire is that I don't know when I'll go back home, back to Godhead, but whenever I will go, I'll be able to see Pankajangri Prabhu there. It is attraction, to go and see them again. So I stop here and I will continue again. This is the second part of the Madhavendra Puri's service to Gopal in next Friday. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Shri Madhavendra Puri ji ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Hare.
So anybody has any questions or comment, or if you want to add into anything the story that we read, you please share it with all of us. Hare Krishna.
Actually, Prabhuji, I could add something to the deities in Jaipur that I visited as well, the Govinderjee Temple. And it was the first time that I had visited any Indian Hindu temple where I saw the big carvings of Gaur-Nitai on the pillars. I also saw a very big picture of the very famous picture of Gaur-Nitai also on the parikrama around Govinderjee Temple. It was there. It was a very, very nice thing to see. And I was able to also show it to the children. And because Gaur-Nitai deities are not so popular with a lot of Hindu people don't know about. They know Radha Krishna deities, but they don't know Gaur-Nitai. So I was able to explain to the family that this is Gaur-Nitai. Look at the Gaur-Nitai deities on the pillars. Look at the. It was very, very nice experience. And yes, they are beautiful deities indeed. I had the good fortune of taking that darshan. I've also taken darshan of the Srinathji Temple, the Srinathji deity in Nathdwara. That was a very, very nice pilgrimage I did. And if Prabhuji, you will organize a trip, that would be very, very nice too. Because I think that it was a very nice darshan, not like normally you go to a dham, like, very famous dham, especially there's such a rush to go in and you barely get darshan. Like if you go to South India and you want to see the Balaji temple, Tirupati, you barely get a glimpse and you're pushed away. You can't really stand there for that long. Whereas here it was very organized. And while there was like a bit of a rush, but you got very, very nice darshan of the deities. And it is actually like that. There's a stone in the background and there is stone everywhere. And then there's the deity there. It was very, very beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you. I hope inspire other people to go and see. It's very simple to go to, very easy to go to. If you go to Udaipur from there, it's very easy to go to. There's no rush like that, no queuing. There is a lot of people there. The whole house where the Lord lives is like a haveli. It's almost like you're going into the Lord's house. And then, of course, at different parts of the temple of the haveli, there is the baby Krishna form there as well. But the deity, the Gopal deity over there is very, very beautiful and very nice. Yes. Thank you so much for this class, Prabhuji. It was very nice.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. Because of you, I also getting more desire to go and see Nathdwara, Srinishnathji again. Again. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Radha Mohan Prabhu. Anyone else has any questions or any comments? Otherwise, I'll just make a couple of quick announcements. So Radha Mohan Prabhu has already mentioned about the program on Sunday, that we are doing a special program in remembrance of His Grace Pankajangri Prabhu. So it replaces our regular Sunday program. So please do join us for that wonderful event to celebrate. And I have one more thing I just wanted to announce. A devotee called Maria Mataji, who has been leading the Food for All in Manchester, has been initiated by His Holiness Jayapatak Swami Maharaj, and our initiated name is a little bit longer, so you have to bear with me. Maya Pureshwari Lakshmi Priya Devi Dasi. Okay, so Maya Pureshwari Lakshmi Priya Devi Dasi ki jai.
Wonderful.
She's a very fired up devotee. She has been doing a wonderful service distributing prasadam. So even in the lockdown, she had done a great amount of service. So we are very pleased to announce that she's been initiated. And tomorrow we have a special program. His Grace Shubha Vilas Prabhu will be giving a 2-part seminar. The first one being tomorrow, and the second one will be the Sunday 16th. So number of devotees are very well aware of Shubha Vilas Prabhu, and he doesn't need much introduction, but he's a renowned speaker and author of a number of books, especially on Ramayana. So he has kindly agreed to do this seminar. So please take part in that. Tomorrow it starts at 5 o'clock. That's it from me. Thank you very much, Ralmohan Prabhu, for describing this story of Madhavendra Puri, and also bringing Srinathji into picture. Once I was reading an article about Srinathji by Bhakti Vikas Swami, and he mentioned actually there was practically a well of ghee. I don't know. He mentioned in that article that so much ghee is donated to Srinathji. Sometimes even the train trucks and like that, big things comes, and it is poured and put into well, and from there is a pipeline. Whenever they need ghee, they just open this pipeline. So I've never been to Srinath, like Nathdwar, but nice to go one day with you all. I developed a desire just by hearing to go. We don't know when the lockdown is lifted. The situation in India gets better. We don't know, but until then, we can read about him, and that way we will be close to him just by reading, hearing about Srinathji. Okay, so anything else by anyone? Sorry.
Yes, Prabhuji, I could further inspire you about Srinathji. Just as when I was very young, in my very early 20s, I bought the Bhagavatam, and Bhagavatam came to my home. And at that time, I was not such an avid reader as I now read, but I had first just the Bhagavatam came to my house, and it sat there for a little while before I actually started to read it. So I always say to my children, when the Bhagavatam comes to your home, it is going to show its colors. So if any home Bhagavatam goes, that person that one day is going to pick up, he is going to read it. It is going to happen. It is one of those things that you can do what you like. The magic of the Bhagavatam will happen at home, and will automatically the person read it. I really say that all my life, my Mangal Sutra, as you say, for an Indian woman, the Mangal Sutra is the thing we wear when we get married. My Mangal Sutra, when I got married, had a pendant was Srinathji. I had never been to Srinathji, but when my Mangal Sutra was being chosen, I didn't want just a little pendant of gold in it. I wanted Srinathji in my temple. Again, I was very inspired as a young girl. I loved Lord Krishna, and I wanted to be married to Lord Krishna. So when I got my Mangal Sutra, I wanted Srinathji in my Mangal Sutra. But I've never been to Mangal to. After so many years, I went, and I said there was no way I was not going to go. I have been wearing the Lord's Mangal Sutra all my life. So I got the darshan, very nice darshan of Srinathji. So Prabhuji, absolutely you must go. It is amazing darshan of Srinathji.
Oh, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for sharing that personal, pastime. Really appreciate. So it's nearly 9 o'clock. So thank you very much, all the devotees. Appreciate for giving your kind association. See you all tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. Madhav Kumar Prabhu just popped up.
I'm right here just waiting for it. Sorry.
Prasadam time, but there is no prasadam.
Haribol.
Haribol.